Hi, this is Kaushik Chakraborty from Hexagon India. So how are geospatial technologies enabling workflows across different industries and applications? I think the best way to answer this is talk about a few specific ones. Let's talk about the utilities, right, and the communication industry. Let's talk about power industry. Power is a very scarce commodity, especially in a country like India, where we have so many blackouts, brownouts. And what the geospatial industry is helping power companies do is, first, is the GIS-based consumer indexing. That is telling the power companies how many consumers do we have who use our services, where are they located. Based on this, geospatial information, which forms a base map of all the assets a power company has, and those assets are not just the transformers and the poles and the lines the company owns, but also the customers who consume their services and pay the bills. Once they have that information, they can then take that to the next step, which is how do we then deliver services better to these people. We know where there's going to be high load, we know where there's going to be low load. How does a power company then balance the load between different areas? There are places in Delhi today where if you pay a higher tariff, you will get access to more uninterrupted power supply. So how does an electric company know where this should happen? It's all using GIS-based technology or location technology. The next step comes in terms of outage management. Now, if you have an outage in your place, it is immediately made available via a phone communication or an automated SCADA-based system to the utility company. The utility company then knows what has caused the fault, and it can then find out how many people are affected by that fault. So the knowing how many people are affected by that error or the fault comes from the GIS base map, which was used in creating the network asset management solution. So that's how geospatial is helping the utility industry. Let's come to law and order or police. Now, as we all know, that crime is increasing every day, and police are not getting the authorization to hire more people. So they have to thereby rely on technology to help prevent crime, but also to make sure that the policeman is available before a crime happens. How does geospatial enable this? What geospatial technology is doing is it creates a database of all events that are happening in an area or a district, right? All this information is geotagged or geolocated, and using that information, using geospatial analysis, police and the service providers to police can then find out, profiling and do crime mapping, which then tells them, okay, maybe on a Friday evening, you can see that these are the parts of the city which are most prone to a particular kind of crime. What then happens the next week is that the police superintendents and the commissioners can then say, okay, we will then deploy policemen effectively to those crime-prone areas on the days of the week where we see crime peaking. So what this is going to help police do is, yes, their job does not change. They still have to be where crime happens, but it helps them predict where to be at, how to be where at the right time. So timing is everything, as they say in life. So this is how geospatial technology is also helping law and order to a large extent, including in our country, where this is now happening effectively. There are many other industries, the defense industry for one, where GIS helps on a daily basis in creating actionable intelligence. It helps the border control agencies across all countries of the world manage borders, protect borders, and do reconnaissance and surveillance across the borders. And this information is then used to make sure that our borders are not porous, but at the same time, borders allow human travel as long as it's legal. So it's helping keep the bad guys out and keep the good people in, or allow good people into your country. So I think this is, in short, some of the applications where geospatial is becoming more and more relevant. We can also talk about other applications like insurance. Insurance, or especially reinsurance as it's linked to agriculture. Geospatial plays a very key role. Geospatial technologies help in crop yield forecasting. So the first application done with remote sensing in the world after defense was for crop yield forecasting. Right? This was way back in the 70s, where the company which makes Mars chocolates, they had a contract with the peanut growers of the state of Georgia to see, can you predict over the next 5 years how much acreage or how much yield of peanut we could get from the supplier, therefore assuring that we could manufacture enough chocolates. Now, this is in the 70s. Today, in the year 2014, we have agricultural companies around the world who not only use but also have significant investments in Earth observation companies. The companies like Rapid Eye had significant investment from reinsurance and insurance companies because they wanted to know crop yield, they wanted to forecast crop yield, they wanted to see damage when you had environmental conditions, disasters, how was crop going to be damaged, what was that damage going to lead to in terms of claims, and how much would it cost the insurance companies then. So there's a lot of analysis built in from the IT side, plus using GIS as a horizontal information layer or location as an information asset within that IT data processing, which helps even in the insurance industry specific to agriculture. It also works in the insurance industry specific to flooding. So we could go on and on for a long time about how many applications there are, but the list is growing, and the important thing to remember is that today the use of GIS as a horizontal information asset layer across IT systems is pretty standardized in most organizations and businesses around the world.